Got the engine mounts loose, the motor mounts there. Got it jacked up, the motor jacked up in 2 separate spots. And working on getting this damn thing off. As you can see, it's pretty much just got a shell of JB Weld. This is the least of it. So as you can see, this oil pan is just got a shell of JB Weld on it. I've gotten the engine up that much, still not able to get it out, and a friend of mine told me what I got to do is drop the oil pump into the pan. So I just got to loosen take off the 2 bolts that hold the oil pump up there, drop in the pan. I should be able to get this beast out of there, put the new one in. One thing that I had heard is that it's really hard to get the motor to sit back correctly on the motor mounts once you take it off and loosen it up. So what I ended up doing was not fully removing the nuts off the end of the bolts that hold it in. So it kind of holds it all together, but gives it enough play to lift up. So still just not quite enough clearance. Oh man, we're almost there. We were so close. Except.
Jack be nimble.
Even cut off the exhaust so we didn't have to deal with it. And now this is in the way. It's alright, we got this. We did it! Woo! Now to put it all back together. Oil pump. This thing is just a shell of JB Weld, which now that I have removed this thing, I totally understand why that was the fix they went with, as long as it would work.
On the inside?
So I realized I didn't do a great job showing you how I took this all apart, but I figure if I show you a little bit of the reassembly, that might help. So one of the things I had to do to get this to clear was to drop the oil pump into the pan. So now I've got it in there, orientated pretty close to where it needs to be. There's just 2 mounting bolts that hold it in. So we're gonna see if I can get this up in there right. Reach my hand around. I also zip tied the gasket on there just to hold it in place. So I don't know if you can see, but right here is the gear drive for the pump. So there's a little keyway that slides down, and that has to slide into as well. I'm wondering if it's going to be easier for me to go from the other side. And that should definitely be that way. And that keyway, once you get it on there, will actually kind of help guide it into where it goes. Ah, there it went. Hopefully. Ah. Of course, you know. It's alright though. I'm a professional. It's something. Not everyone. I'm kind of a professional at stuff. There we go. Hopefully that's a good angle. I got the oil pump lined up and back where it's supposed to go. And it's just got these 2 14mm bolts. The other one goes. Kind of got to do this by feel. and hope I don't drop it into the oil pan. Gotcha. There's definitely some torque specs for this, but we're just gonna go with tight. That's pretty good. Feels like about 35 foot-pounds. All right, so then the next step is going to be to lift this up into place. I'm going to put a couple of bolts through to hold this gasket in place, and then I'll go through and cut the zip ties. So just making sure the gasket is seated right. A bit hard to tell, but looks good all the way down there. I got one bolt in, kind of holding it in place. I'll go check the front. Here, gasket also looks good. Sitting properly. Alright, got that bad boy on there. Got all the screws finger tight, a couple of them tightened down just to hold it where it's supposed to be. Now for the fun part of releasing all three of these jacks kind of simultaneously to lower the trans and engine down in the cradle. You can kind of see, I know there's a glare, but you can see I released the trans mount. So again, got that pin removed from the cradle. Gonna lower the trans down a little bit and then move up to the others. Slowly. I'm gonna tighten it. Just the exhaust, don't worry guys. We're gonna go drop those a little bit. As we drop these, we're gonna hope that it lines itself up nicely right into those cradles again. But again, just a little bit at a time. Two-hand. Just to break it free. Just a little bit. And gently tighten it back. Come over here. Same thing with this one. This is where it helps to have a second guy. But I'm gonna put the phone down so I can concentrate on this. So I've got the transmission all the way down. It's not quite lining up with the pin. It's gonna have to slide back a little bit as this comes down. And we're hoping it's gonna line right up into those cradles. I did leave the nuts on the end of those so that they stayed in their channels. Okay. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. Gonna go check that rear. Oh yeah, she's going right where she's supposed to. Yep. Good job. This one down. So with all the times I had to raise this up and get a longer board once it was up at a certain point, now what I have to do is jack it up to relieve off these and start taking sections out to lower it all the way. See it sliding right down into its cradle. Get that out of there. Although might have to, again, to pull some of these blocks out. But we will see. Almost, not quite. Down to just the one jack. Alright, we'll leave her there for now. Got this transmission pin pretty lined up, it looks like. Boom, baby. And I'm gonna have to hook the starter back up, put that cover on the front of the transmission, and find the one bolt from the oil pan cover that I lost somewhere down here. Got this pin through the tranny mount. 18 millimeter. Oh yeah, baby. Next on to replacing this exhaust. Probably do all the bolts on that first. Found it. I already wiped it off, but we definitely find all your cuts when you use that brake cleaner or carb cleaner, whatever, stuff cleaner. Almost, just gotta get it over this stud. Come on, you little bastard. Gotcha, bitch. Why don't we go ahead and start her up there while we're at it. Oh yeah. When you're doing this, you got to make sure that you tuck this plate behind the lip of that pan. I had to do a little bit of bending, or bend it back. The socket won't quite fit up in there between the pans, so got to use a wrench. Luckily I have a offset ratcheting wrench. Make it a little easier. And as long as we're under here, I'm gonna put this oil filter on. I already pre-lubed the seal. Remember, you don't want to do anything other than hand tight with these. Seal's pretty nice. That should be good. Now on to the starter, which is a 16. I think I'm gonna need the extension to get in there, but we'll see. Maybe it's on the Ram pickups that you need the extension for this, because this looks like I'm going to be able to get it. Can't really get a lot of spin. Like a Toiger. And yes, I realize I'm going to have to change this transmission line. But it don't leak too bad right now. One thing at a time, right? Motor mounts here. These are a 19. Say these are tightening. This is tightening back on way easier than it came off. Had to use a bunch of PB blast and a MAP gas torch, and had to keep heating it up to get it to come all the way through. Wire brushed off the ends, so it's going out back on way nicer. Then of course this one over here cannot get a ratchet in there, so luckily it got this other offset, and a 3/4 is very close to a 19. I can only get about one click at a time on it, but I'll reconnect this other tie rod over there. That was in the way for this motor mount in there, so had to release it. Just a 22mm crown nut, exhaust piece back. Holy cow, I think she's done, ready to put some oil in her. What a project. Oh, baby. Good oil pressure. Check for leaks. Still got that little exhaust tick. She's sounding good though. Success! She sounds beautiful. No leaks. Pretty excited to be finished. I've done lots of work on this van. Hopefully be sharing some more with you soon.